I said earlier, my name is David Rogers, and I'm doing the final 3 scenes of Radium Girls by W.D. Gregory. The story of Radium Girls takes place in 1918 to 1928 in Orange, New Jersey. It follows the story of Grace, played by Kaylee Letterman. She is a dial painter that works for the U.S. Radium Corporation. The U.S. Radium Corporation was founded by Dr. Von Sashaki, and he created a radium-laced paint that would glow in the dark. And part of the girls working, one of their tasks was to paint those dials. And to be as precise as possible, they would point the brushes with their lips every single use. Well, with that much radium ingested, it started to cause problems, radiation poisoning. And the founder, Dr. Von Sashaki, ended up giving the company to Arthur Reeder, played by Trey Osmond. So he is the current acting president. And as the girls have started suffering from their radiation poisoning, they started to realize what's been going on and getting tested and other things like that, and found out that it's the radiation that's causing the problem. Well, they end up suing the company for damages and for reparations for their ailments. And the company, not wanting to pay the hefty fines that would be involved with that, have decided to fight these girls with their own suit. Mr. Markley, played by Jacob Priestner, is the lawyer for the U.S. Radium Corporation, and Mr. Lee, played by Calvin Hudak, sorry. He is the vice president to Arthur Reeder, and has been working with the board to replace Arthur Reeder whenever it is necessary. Now, these girls, for the longest time, were not being believed by the company or the other people around. And so, through the help of our reporters, Keely Hoffman and Joseph Pardo, they get the story out to the public. And after hearing their story, Carly Grace Weedle, yes, playing Miss Catherine Wiley, decides to help out the girls. And the best way that you can help out the girls is by giving them a lawyer that will actually work for them. Our lawyer, Mr. Raymond Berry, there we go, being played by Aiden Bronner, sorry. Agrees to work with the girls because he sees an actual suit. Our judge for the evening, being played by Nathan Widener. And then this is Arthur Reeder's daughter, Harriet Reeder. And then over there, next to Grace, is Grace's ex-fiance, Tom. And that is pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoy the scene.
I never really read it. I hired a man to put it together. I never really, I just glanced at the galleys. I never read the book.
How do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard arrangement. Those outside our company prepared the piece. They were responsible for the content.
Which you never read.
I think you will find, Mr. Berry, that very few presidents read their promotional efforts word for word.
Your name is on it. You authorized the book's release and had final approval over the content.
Mr. Lee was responsible for our promotional efforts at the time. I entrusted those activities to him.
Now, Mr. Reeder, you testified that you
Yes, as plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
During those 4 years, how often would you say you ventured into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have observed the girls pointing the brushes with their lips.
I don't recall.
You went into the studio every day. And yet you're saying you never saw a single girl put a brush to her mouth?
I said I don't recall it.
You don't recall it! What do you recall, Mr. Reader? You're an awfully young man to have such a faulty memory!
Objection!
Withdrawn! No further questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley. We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Very well, gentlemen, please approach. I'm ready to issue my ruling.
Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense.
I realize that, Mr. Markley, but that's to determine standing. Now, I've heard more than enough these 2 days to make that determination. The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing source of poison in their system. Nothing your witnesses can say will change that fact, will it?
Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the company could not have known about the danger.
Mr. Markley, in the interest of justice, I am asking that the defense rest without calling any witnesses. We can conclude this hearing today and schedule the case for trial.
All right, Your Honor.
Fine. I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted and these girls have standing to sue.
Your Honor, one more thing. I have a very full schedule with 2 other cases pending, and a key expert witness will not be available until the end of the summer. We can't be available until September.
Your
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but a chief expert witness is associated with an institution of higher learning. This is the busiest time of the year for him, and I can't expect him to appear.
All right, Mr. Markley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Edward, why can't Flynn appear?
He's going to Europe.
Europe? He's known about this for months. Why would he? Oh. I see. Very clever. How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley?
Mr. Barry, congratulations. How did you think the court would go for it?
You know full well these girls cannot wait until September. One is so ill she can't appear in court.
My client has a right to his defense.
We will not wait until September. I promise you that. One way or another, we will find room on that dock. Your expert witness be damned!
That girl keeps staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
She thinks it's personal. That I planned this somehow. How do I make her understand that I didn't intend for any of this to happen?
You don't. You don't make her understand. You don't talk to her.
But she looks like death, Edward.
They all look like that, Arthur.
Grace? That man this Wiley. He won't look at me. He just looks right past me like I'm not even there.
Oh, Grace. Doesn't matter. He heard you.
June 4th, 1928. Nancy Jane Harlan with the New York Graphic.
Jack Youngwood for the Ledger.
Raymond Berry seeks trial date for early summer.
As U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement.
A settlement?
$10,000 cash for each girl, and $12 a week for life.
$12 a week!
Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source for news.
The corporation also agrees to pay the medical expenses of each girl for the remainder of her life. The girls have also agreed to submit a periodic examination to a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Questions?
What led to the settlement?
Is this an admission of responsibility?
What about other pending cases?
It was purely for humanitarian reasons that we agreed to the settlement. We admit no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to a close and looks forward to many more years serving this community and its customers. And that's C.B. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley of the New Jersey Consumer League, our press statement.
Are you pleased with the outcome, Miss Wiley?
Finally, these poor girls receive some compensation for their suffering. But more importantly, the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to public awareness.
Thank you, Miss Wiley.
That's Wiley with one L and then Catherine with a K.
Well, Edward, we're back in business.
Your game plan.
Didn't I tell you? I got a buyer for all the tailings that have been piling up behind the building on Alden Street.
Oh,
Some contractor in Montclair needs a little infill.
that's perfect.
Now, Catherine, this won't do. We can't see your name. There, that's better. Well, Catherine, I brought my watercolors today. It's a beautiful day, too. The trees are starting to turn. But it's still too warm. Too warm for a sweater. Not much of a breeze, but still a fine day to paint.
I don't find you up here.
You're right.
Quiet up here.
Yep.
Well, if you can rest in peace, this is the place for it, huh?
I guess it is.
What do you call that?
Watercolors. I'm a little weak when it comes to landscapes, though.
No, it's good, Grace. It's nice.
First thing I bought with the settlement money was some paints. Got some oils, too.
Big spender.
Then I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
I can't. My brother's gonna teach me. He drove me up here today.
Grace, if you want to learn how to drive, I teach you.
Oh, Tommy, you have better things to do now.
You already know about that?
Tommy, Orange just isn't that big.
I wanted to tell you myself. That's why I came looking for you today.
It's alright, Tommy. I'm happy for you. For the both of you.
No hard feelings then?
Oh, Tommy, you think I have time for that?
Well, I'm glad it worked out for you. Are you glad? You don't think you backed down too soon, do you?
We didn't back down. They backed down.
Papa,
It was here.
not this again.
This is where I saw her that last time.
This is morbid, Papa.
She didn't see me at first. I was standing here for a while. But then something made her look up.
Oh my.
I wonder Mama won't go for drives with you anymore if this is how you spend your Sundays.
She looked at me. And I looked away.
Just like at the courthouse that day. He can't bring himself to look at me.
You need to find a new hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
My heart was pounding, Harry. I didn't know what I would tell her if I had the chance, and there she was. And I had the chance.
So what did you say?
I couldn't bring myself to speak.
It's as if he's afraid to look at me.
I had my chance and I couldn't speak.
That was years ago. Why don't you just forget about it? It's not like it was your fault. Nobody knew about things like that. Then science just wasn't as advanced the way it is now.
I look back on those days and try to think how could it have happened. I remember so clearly climbing up those stairs to that studio in Alden Street. Those wide, high windows, the light creaking down to the floor. The way the floor creaked underneath my feet. The smell of the place. Chalky, like an old schoolroom. And all those girls. Schoolgirls really bent over to the task. Their hands moving so delicately. No man could work the way those girls did. So careful, so fast. Those paintbrushes moving, From the dials, to the paint, to the dials, to their lips. Try as I might, Harriet. Try as I might, I can't remember their faces. I never saw their faces.